Happy Thursday and welcome to today's special episode of Thursday Tech Bites. Every episode is special, but this one is really cool. My name's Rick Vanover, Rickatron, El Rickatron, and I'm joined by Kirsten Stoner. Good day, Kirsten. How are you?
Hey Rick, I'm doing great today. I'm excited to be here and to show off, one of my favorite products, Veeam One. We doesn't get too much showtime normally, so this is really kind of like my happy place. I get to show what I love.
That's right. And Kirsten and I are both in Central Ohio. We got a producer in Central Ohio as well. Producers also in Texas and in Georgia, but let us know where you're from. Fabian Milder, Detective Milder, joining us from Switzerland. Hello, man. Thanks for joining. We've got a great topic today. We're going to do a deep dive into the Threat Center, which is part of Veeam Data Platform. And Kirsten, walk us through, how this came into be. I know it was December when this went available, but tell us a little bit of the history.
Yeah, so Veeam One is an engine that provides monitoring and reporting for Veeam backup infrastructure, right? And the way it does this is it collects data on the backup infrastructure. So, as you're running backup policies, as you're configuring backup repositories, storing data in all these different components, right? Veeam collecting that data and then providing you insights into your backup environment. So, especially when we think about, security and how important it is to, have a strong security posture for your overall organization and your backup infrastructure, it was only a matter of time before Veeam One, innovated to be able to provide you with a deeper view into the security of your backup infrastructure, right? And so if we take a look at what Veeam Threat Center is it's really going to be, that one-stop view for compliance, platform health, data protection, and security. And it's going to be able to point out areas of your infrastructure that need fixing. Maybe you're unsure that maybe you misconfigured a part of your backup infrastructure and you didn't know. So the Threat Center is going to be a really great place, so your one-stop view to show you what needs to be fixed, how you can strengthen your security posture, and identify where any of these threats are coming into your data center. Now, Rick, you've seen the Veeam One Threat Center, the Veeam Threat Center. Um, why would you say that maybe a customer would want to? I know I talked about it a lot, but why would you think maybe a customer would want to upgrade to the latest version to gain access to this Threat Center?
Well, I think Kirsten Threat Center does a great job of visualizing and really providing some metrics and numbers on the infrastructure at hand. In fact, we really think it's a natural question. If someone upgrades to 12.1, it goes into Veeam One, pardon the pun, we do those on Thursdays, that they might say, well, what does this number mean? And really, without any preparation, it might cause some questions. And a couple of people are already chiming in. Hello, Tim from Tampa. By the way, on the chat on LinkedIn, Tim, this guy can help you, audience, get your Veeam environment tuned up. Luis Eduardo Serrano, rock and roll. David from Philly and Stephen from Minnesota. Thank you all. Let us know where you're tuning in from. But the thought here, Kirsten, is that this Veeam One Threat Center is really taking the information out of the Veeam backup and replication environment, as well as the observations that are done in Veeam One, and putting this in a really, really nice place and a nice view. And my thought here is that the only way, I like to say, Kirsten, right? The only way to learn how to swim is by swimming, right? So I think the best thing now is let's jump in the demo and walk through it. Are you ready for something like that?
Yeah, let's do it. So I'm going to jump into my lab
Yep.
environment.
There we go.
So everybody can see my screen hopefully now. So I'm in my Veeam One server, and really where you're going to be able to access this Veeam Threat Center is going to be through the Veeam One web client. So open this up, and then I'm just going to log in. I would have logged in earlier, but I've done a demo like this similar before, and
Well, it'll time
I
out.
have
You got
definitely
to be
timed out.
ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what if someone's using the product, this is so Kirsten, it's hard to demo and talk at the same time. So I'll walk you through this a little bit. But sometimes it'll time out. But this is where if you're using the product, this is where you'll start. And this is the shiny new thing that's part of Veeam Data Platform. And I see many things and many questions that I might have. But Kirsten, walk us through this.
Yeah, so once you open the web client, you're going to be greeted by this new Veeam Threat Center. And really, this is going to show us, I always like to say it's going to show us our homework. How can we improve our environment? What can we do to remediate and fix so that, our backups are finishing successfully? We have, backups that are healthy to restore from. And you're going to see we are provided with this number right here first. And this is basically just telling us that based on how our backup policies are configured, how the product's configured, and based on some security best practices, that we have a lot of work to do. And this is just a lab environment, so normally this can be pretty an interesting number for us, I would say. But this number comes from these four numbers here. And these four numbers basically represent four components of our backup infrastructure, backup policies that are important, right? So some of you guys might be familiar with the Security and Compliance Analyzer in Veeam Backup and Replication, a really great tool that you can run. It takes a look at your environment and tells you how you can strengthen your security, provides you with recommendations, and also product configuration recommendations. So this is telling me here, this number is based off of the results of that analyzer. So this is telling me, hey, I need to go and, configure some stronger settings for my backup infrastructure so I can make sure that it stays secure. The next number we have here is based off of the new malware scanning in Veeam Backup and Replication. So this is a new feature within 12.1. If you're not upgraded yet to that version, this is a great opportunity if you want to get access to any of these features that we're talking about today, is to do that upgrade. And this is basically telling me that, my data recovery health is looking pretty good. Some of my restore points are pretty healthy, but also 3 out of the 936 restore points are marked as either suspicious or infected. So that means I need to take a deeper look at those restore points and, make the proper decisions to, maybe quarantine those restore points, or maybe it's a false positive, right? Which can happen. And then we can, fix those as we go. The next number here is data protection status. And so this is basically just telling us if we're meeting our recovery point objectives for our business. And the last number here is the immutability status. So if you've attended any of our Tech Bites before, I'm sure you've heard us talk about immutability and how important it is to have a copy of your backup stored in a mutable repository. So this is really checking that out for us. Combined, if you add up all these numbers together and you combine to get the average, you're going to get your overall protection score. And
mind blown. I didn't know that. Real? Are you serious? It's averaging these?
Yeah, it is. It's the average across.
I didn't pay attention to kickoff, as I think is what that's telling me, but okay.
Yeah. So that's really where those numbers are coming from, because all four of these factors, right, are important. We want to make sure we're meeting our recovery point objectives. We want to be sure that we're, following best practices. We want to make sure that we're setting our backups to an immutable repository. So really giving us an overall view of, how we're doing within our, data protection for our organization. One thing I want to point out here too is that all of these numbers come with, a report included with them. So if I were to, click on, this data recovery health right here, it's going to take me to this new malware detection report. And if I go to preview, it's going to show me the results of that malware scanning within Veeam Backup and Replication. So as you can see, we've analyzed 108 workloads. We have had no anomalies. And then we also have analyzed our restore points. And within those restore points, 3 of those have experienced some sort of anomaly and has been flagged, right? And what I think is pretty cool about this here is if I take a look at this backup server that's connected into my environment, and this was one of the demonstrations that you did earlier this week, Rick. I think it was maybe for a webinar or maybe a customer. Um, and you showed that you had done the malware scanning and had flagged some file extensions, right? So if I take a look at this workload itself, and I can see the workload name, and then I can actually see, the file extension that was flagged, what backup server belongs to, and getting those event timestamps as well. So as a backup administrator, if this is in your environment, you can say these restore points are infected. We can't use them to recover from. And you can really pinpoint, maybe potentially when that malware got into your environment. So really giving you a little bit more details as well. And this is a great report too. So if you do get infected with ransomware, which could happen today, tomorrow, in the future, or maybe it already has happened, this could be a report that you could run and say, give it to your boss, and you guys can do your own analysis on how it happened, when it happened. So really just giving you those details that we love to see, right?
Don't close it. Kirsten, on that one right there, if I'm seeing right, is that Mousim 0123 on
Yeah.
the computer name? So it's shameless, absolutely shameless plug for the end of the month. I'm doing a Veeam.com webinar where I'm going to talk about preparing to recover from ransomware, detecting, and then recovery. And I'm going to walk through a simulation here of malware detection in action. And guess how many times I did it, Kirsten? I did it 3. And so you can see that right here in Threat Center. And if that's the RVRTM system, that's
Mm-hmm.
where I ran that. And on that webinar, I'll actually let everyone know how I do that. But if you, as the attendees, if you want to see the malware detection in action, I know we did some previews in the beta. Let us know in the chat here because we're planning some of the Tech Bite episodes that are going to be coming up in the future. And that particular scenario, where's your Zoom at? I know you can rock the Zoom at, Kirsten.
I don't know if I have it.
Oh gosh, Control One. But
Isn't it
basically
in here in Interlabin?
Interlabin. There you go. All right.
This
And
one?
actually, by the way, we're going to show y'all how to use Zoom It. You'll need Zoom It
Is it
64.
running? Okay.
Yeah, there we go. And then go
Where would
back
you like me to zoom? Right here?
right here. Yeah, cool. Thank you very much. But anyways, you can see right here that it was suspicious and two things happened. It found an extension, the Ludicrous file extension, which was a known ransomware. And then I went on to do a scan and it confirmed it as infected. So inside of the file, the anti-malware was able to do that. Cool, Luis. Thank you for that. I will put that into the content plan. But it's really cool to kind of close the loop here with Threat Center. Kirsten, I'm sorry to kind of put you on the hook there, but I really love that data. And thank you for ad hoc in the Zoom It. You know, I love my Zoom It.
Yeah, it can be a little hard with the zoom it sometimes. Go in and out a lot, and it can, be kind of crazy.
Good
Okay.
stuff.
So if we come back into the Threat Center, right, you also might notice this map over here, this malware detections map. And this is also going to be a result of that malware scanning within Veeam backup and replication. And this is really going to provide you a global perspective. So if you are a bigger organization, maybe you have multiple backup servers that you monitor. Maybe you're storing data in different regions based on, the industry regulations, policies, country regulations, or things like that. So this is really going to provide you a global perspective to really see the impact of any type of anomalies that are detected within your backups, right? So if I just hover over this red dot here, I can immediately see, in my Toronto backup repository, I have 3 restore points that have been marked as infected. So this is going to let me know, like, hey, this is where the infection is, and I can make the proper decisions following that as needed.
Hey,
And then we
Kirsten, before you go on, I got two things. One is a comment from Tim that he's using this technology to fight a ransomware case now. Good to hear. But a question from Philip. Sorry to interrupt you, Kirsten. I'm trying to
It's
sneak
okay.
in, but
No
you're on
way,
this
no
you're
worries.
on this like stream of consciousness. But
Yeah.
Philip has a question. What size test environment has this been tested with? He says, we have over 12,000 VMs and are apprehensive for turning this on for the size of the databases and Veeam. Philip, outstanding question. Couple of things. One, the inline malware detection has two dimensions to turning it on. One, it will require up to 30 or 50, my conservative number is 50% more CPU. That's usually not the resource in contention, okay? The other thing to think about if you turn it on, change block tracking would not be used for Windows-based systems on the next run. So, Philip, if you have one BNR server backing up 12,000 VMs, it is a global setting. So my specific recommendation, Philip, and this is why I wanted to interrupt you, Kirsten, because it's a very good question from Philip, is to, Philip, turn it on, and make sure your file system indexing is on. Run it on one job, like an incremental before, like you turn it on. So run an incremental job, turn on it, malware detection, both elements, run the incremental job again, just one job, and then turn it off and do like a delta difference there so that you can measure that impact on time, IO, and et cetera. Chances are you can slip it right in. So I'm cautiously optimistic, Philip, but that's my recommendation for you. You can hit me up on the chat here with a little bit more, but Kirsten, that was a very, very good one. Hey, Beth. Hey, welcome, Beth. But Kirsten, we got time for one more thing. We got to move at Veeam speed today. What's your your important closing thought here on the Threat Center?
Yeah, so really the last couple things that are here are just the SLA compliance overview and the RPO anomalies. And this is really just going to tell you which workloads are missing your recovery point objective so that you can rerun those backup jobs. But since I know we have another couple minutes, I also want to just show as well that in Veeam Backup and Replication, now you have this monitoring and analytics tab. So if you want to access the Threat Center within the Veeam Backup and Replication console, you actually have the ability to do that as well. And it's not only available within Veeam Backup and Replication, but if you're using Recovery Orchestrator, it's going to be available within that product as well. So one of those features that is a part of the entire platform. But if you want this feature, you definitely need to have Veeam 1.
Hey, outstanding stuff, Kirsten. This is great. And thank you all for this information here. Some of the interaction really going to help us inspire some of the future content. Speaking of which, a couple things I want to highlight. On Tuesday, the 20th, the Industry Insight series is up with perspective on cyber and disaster recovery. I love that because cyber recovery is the new disaster recovery. I grew up preparing for fire, flood, and blood, but the reality is that the disaster we're going to have to deal with is a cyber incident. A week from today, Her Kirstenness and I are going to be back at the Tech Bites for a very special, dare I say, extra highly produced episode on data freedom. We're going to be talking about migration. I'm going to be driving most of the demos. Thank you, Kirsten, for today's demo driving, by the way. Moving to a new hypervisor, kind of an industry topic now. I'm going to put myself on the demo hook for that. And we are scheming and dreaming a lot about Veeam On. So thank you, everyone, for watching this content here today. Big shout out to our producers, Felicia, Mark, Jeffrey. Friends, I really am so lucky to work with them. They keep it all going. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time on the streams.
Your choice, your partnership, our journey together, Veeam is #1 because we have the #1 community on the planet. We would not exist today, let alone flourish, without these 450,000 plus customers around the world.
Technology and innovation starts with the crowd in this room and the crowd that is online. This is about your business. This is about the market and taking it forward. And we thank you for your partnership in that. We keep your business running.
So you know we go big. Be ready.
Who's ready to get this party started? Thank you for all those that participated in Lab Wars.
Chris Rustin, $10,000.